Hello. In this video I'm going to talk through a key technique that I often recommend to students for A-level history revision, and I really think this is an incredibly useful way to make the most of your revision time, and I call these skeleton plans. So the structure for this video is as follows. I'm going to explain what skeleton plans are and what I mean by that. I'm going to give an example of a skeleton plan, and then I'm going to explain why I think this is a particularly useful revision method. And then I'm going to give an example of a detailed essay plan, which is like the next step. And then I'm going to kind of give an overall summary of just kind of pulling it all together, why skeleton plans are such a good method for revision. So firstly, what are skeleton plans? So skeleton plans are simplified essay plans which give an outline of the structure, so the paragraph headings for the essay and the argument for the essay, but the argument should have a basis, so it's not just saying like X was the most important, it's X was the most important because. So basic structure and argument. And it sounds very simplistic. It is, and I'm going to explain why this is such a useful method now. So this is an example of a skeleton plan. So this is a 2021 question for Stuart Britton. How accurate is it to say that the structure of British society in 1625 was remarkably similar to the structure of British society in 1688? So the way that I would suggest structuring this is something like this. So paragraph 1, you talk about the nobility and the gentry. Paragraph 2, you talk about the poor. And paragraph 3, you could talk about the status of women. And then an argument could be something like this. You agree with the question that it was remarkably similar despite changes to the status of the nobility, gentry and women during the wars in the Republic and growth of poverty across the period. The social hierarchy remained in place. That's it. That's an example of a skeleton plan. You're not going into lots of detail with the evidence. You're not even doing analysis of like each of the paragraphs. You're just setting out what are the paragraph headings and then what's the argument. Okay, and I'm going to explain why this is such a useful method for revision now. So they are incredibly quick to do. So when I was making this video and putting together this presentation, this example only took me a couple of minutes. It didn't take me long to think of what my paragraphs would be and then what my argument would be. And so the way that you should use skeleton plans is to plan all past questions for each paper, every single past question, and then do them as a skeleton plan first. That's the first step. And this allows you, as it says here for the second bullet point, to spot trends in the past questions and similarities in the question types. So you might spot there's similar questions, similarly worded questions that have kind of cropped up again and again and again, perhaps just with a different factor. So when you do skeleton plans, it allows you to plan lots of questions reasonably quickly. Then the next step is that you can add to them to develop your content revision. So if we go back to this one, once you've done skeleton plans for all past questions, you could go back to the start and add your evidence in, and that will help you revise the content as well. So as an example, this is the full essay plan for this question. Now obviously this takes longer, so I've got kind of 3 pieces of evidence per paragraph. I'm not going to talk through all this, but 3 examples per paragraph, and I've got a summary for each paragraph. So my advice for revision would be that ultimately what you want is detailed essay plans like this for every past question. But if you don't have time to do that, then the skeleton plan is enough to give you a sense of what the past questions look like and how you would approach them. This is the kind of ultimate goal, which is the next step. Okay, so as a summary, skeleton essay plans are really, really useful as a revision method. They are brief plans with paragraph headings and argument for each past question, and it allows you to plan all past questions reasonably quickly and see patterns. And then the next step is that you build on them by adding evidence and a summary for each paragraph. So I hope that's been useful, and I hope that's helpful for people who are revising for their A-level history exams, whether that's the final exams or mock exams. Try and use this method to help you plan out all the past questions, and then when you've planned them all out, you can take the next step of adding the detail, and it helps you spot the patterns and trends in the past questions. Thank you for listening, and please leave any comments if you've got any questions or anything you'd like me to clarify. Thank you.